Hey everybody, I'm here just to record a quick what sold video for you guys. I'm supposed to be listing fabric. Anyway, if you saw the last video on my channel, we were talking about listing vintage fabric and how to do all that kind of thing, and I'm attacking my backlog. That's my listing challenge for this week. But we are starting off with eBay with a fun sale. You saw it in my thumbnail. And you may have wondered what in the world that is. Well, I found this in my a little lot of shaving and razors and that kind of thing. There were the strops and all sorts of little tools, and we've sold, I think, a couple of the razors, at least one, but there were two of these in here, and I had this vague memory of what these were, and I couldn't remember, and so Google Lens saved the day. There was two of them in the box. I paid $10 for the whole box. And this one was the one with the two matching colored marbles, the cobalt blue glass. The other one we have listed has two different color marbles. So this might just be an aesthetics thing, the reason why it sold faster. But we sold it for $50. It's from the 30s. It's a way to sharpen the blade on a straight razor. Got it? I don't know. Anyway, fun stuff. Love the obscure. It just makes reselling so much more interesting. Next up, same day, we sold this Pendleton Vest for $50. We sold it as is. The reason being there is supposed to be some leather ties, like right here, right on the front. So it still works as like an open vest. But it doesn't have any kind of closure. Here's the label for it, Pendleton. Let me go closer to that. There we go. It was made in the USA, and of course it does have the Southwest pattern on it, which is very sought after. What was interesting about this, we found this at our bins. We found this at the outlet. And it was the day my husband and I went together, and it was so funny because we went in there and I was like, I don't really want to look at clothing because I'm overwhelmed with clothing at the moment, and clothing there is a lot more digging and everything. And we have done really well with the hard goods that we find there, and less people are looking. There's always people digging in the bins looking for clothing, which is fine. But it was so funny because I was waiting for my husband to be done because he's a little more thorough than I am. And a new cart had rolled out, so I was like, hey, go check that out. Go look and see if there's anything in there. And I was like, you know what? I probably should be looking at a bin near me while I'm doing this. But I was like, we already had a cart like full of stuff. So my husband comes over. He just like wanders over to a clothing bin. And this is like sitting right on top. Like, it could have been my find, but it was his because he just decided to take a glance. He found that and a down vest that was in perfectly good condition as well. This one, like I said, it's missing its ties, and there was a tiny moth hole that we did find in it. And we don't know the size. The size tag you can see was cut off there. And then you can see in the little tag that the ties were leather, so we could see that there was something missing. But anyway, someone still wanted it for $50. It was still wearable, so goodie for us. Okay, I think this was another instance of my husband just cleaning out our boys' toys, our boys' games closet, whatever. They weren't using this anymore. I mean, I'm assuming this is where this came from because I know they had this in the past, but what made my husband decide to list it now, I don't know. But in any case, they sold for $50. So electronic snap circuit, I think if you can find a few of them, like if they're not complete, you can even still, lot them up and put them together, and people are looking for them. So $50 for those two together plus shipping. This is a brand, I think we've had it a couple times. It does not sell super fast. It's not something I really recommend. It's EIDER, Eater one. Anyway, it did not sell for $35. It sold for $25. We've had it listed a while, and as far as I can remember, this came from the bins as well. One of my husband's pickups when he's been there. Yeah, I think that was, you know what? This might have been longer ago than that. So, I mean, we still went to the bins a while ago, but this has been listed for quite a long time in our shop. So, $25, we were happy to take that. Vera Bradley, I don't know. I just always check the wallets. The little accessories can kind of get overlooked at the thrift store. So this was in really good shape. And not worth a whole ton, but people do look for Vera Bradley to a degree, not as much as they used to. And so I think this one had not been used at all. And so I listed it for $15. I got an offer for $10 that I just kind of ignored for a little while. And then I sent out an offer. And this is what's interesting. My husband and I have been finding this lately happening quite a bit. Is we've been sending out offers, but then other people are buying the items at full price. So I don't know if it's just sending the offer gives you some kind of bump, or I don't know. It's like it keeps happening in the last couple weeks. So we're just going to keep sending out offers and see what happens. But I had sent out like a $12 offer or something for this. And somebody the next day bought it for the full asking price of $15. Next up is another light fixture globe that I'm glad I don't have to package. I asked my husband about this. First of all, let me just say it did not sell for $150. We just threw a price on it because it was hard to find any kind of comp for this. And it was very Art Deco, very unusual design on it. So we decided to throw a bigger price. It did sell for $80, and my husband said it got a ton of attention. We've sent out offers and offers and offers and nothing. But a lot of people were watching, a lot of people were looking at it. And then finally we got an $80 offer, and we said, sure. And I asked my husband, because he was picking up lamp parts for a while. So he feels like we've had this in our stuff for a long time. Not listed. You know, it's been listed a few months, but not, you know, it's been in our possession for a few years. Let's put it that way. I don't know if there was something he was going to make with it or whatever, but anywho, $80 and it moved on. It's possible. Hold on. Yeah, it wasn't through the eBay International, but it did go to a forwarding company. So it was going out of the United States. Okay. Next up, interesting. I found two of these at the thrift store. It's a Carhartt and Stanley collaboration. And I had bought them. They were in really good condition, possibly not used. And I bought them for us to use, like for my son to use. But then my husband looked them up and found out what they were worth and that they were fairly hard to come by. So we sold this one for $44. It was an offer that got sent out. So Carhartt Stanley, it says on here, United, we outwork them all. And we have the other one listed as well. My son does have things to drink water out of. We have some smaller ones, and I thought he might like this one that you could clip onto something. But anywho, he can keep using what he's been using. Next up is this was kind of unusual. It was a fishing shirt by Cool. I never had come across this before. You know, the color is just kind of this off-white beige kind of color. And it was listed for $49.99, and that's what it sold for. You know, we tend to price up a little bit because we know we're going to send offers and do things like that. But we've been having some good full price sales lately, and so I'm thrilled to get $50 for a fishing shirt. I didn't think it would, and I figured like 35 to 40 was what it would end up selling for. So works for me. Here's our baseball hat sale of the week. It was a good one. Again, probably better than the one I'm excited about that I got so excited about a few weeks ago. But this one, I mostly picked it up because I like the color. I know, such a girly reason for picking it up, but I thought it was very nice looking. And it was a wool blend. And as we researched, there weren't that many like it out there. So my husband put it up there for $50. And somebody paid $50 for it. We got good feedback. I was just noticing today the person was super happy about the hat, the condition of the hat. This was made in Taiwan. I don't even think my husband played up the fact that it was vintage. But $50, and we had it listed for a little while. It was before we really were deep diving into our hat research and all that kind of stuff. So $50 for that hat. He was happy with the way we shipped it too, which I always say, we put it in plastic and then we put it in a cardboard box. It's the best way to ship a hat. And my husband is still selling off tools. He had 2 of these, and he's not planning on doing, I don't know. I think he's actually, when we were talking about this sale, he has 2 of these. He's going to sell both of them and then buy something that he wanted in a different brand. So this sold for $214.99. And I'm pretty sure that's what it sold for because that's what it shows here. And anyway, that's all I know about tools. Pottery Barn coffee mug. Again, we were saying coffee mug season kind of ramps up a little bit this time of year. And we do like to sell monogram or initial coffee mugs. I generally sell the ones by Anthropology. But this one was Pottery Barn, which is a good brand also. And we sold that one for $18.99. This was listed for a little while. It was a tweed pencil skirt. The reason I picked it up was it was right around the time when the new TV show about Wednesday Addams came out. And so everything dark academia was, a certain style, that was very popular. So I listed it then, and I think it was last fall when I listed it. And the other thing is that it was new old stock. It was new with tags. And so even though it had lace on the bottom, even though it wasn't necessarily a brand that I look out for, the style of it made me pick it up. And so it took until this fall to sell, but it sold for my full asking price of $26.99. So that was a case of style over brand, like a trend, right? I always check when I see stuff new and packaged by Ikea. I always check it. It's not always worth a ton, but sometimes it is. These were curtains, just 2 panels, very plain, off-white, and they sold for $50. And then speaking of Stanley, this was a very fast sale. Okay, so Stanley is very popular right now. If you know about the whole Stanley 40 ounce, I don't remember the name of it, but it's 40 ounce water drinker thingy that's got a straw. And they do collabs with Starbucks and with all these different companies. And it's very, very trendy to be seen with one of those 40 ounce Stanley drink things. So I'm just kind of wondering if the Stanley name kind of got a bump because of that. I saw this at the thrift store like this week for $4, and it was like had never been used. It was in really good condition. And I looked it up and I thought, you know what, it'll probably sell well enough. But it sold overnight. It sold super fast. $28.99. The only comp I found when I got home was someone had tried to run an auction and their starting price was $18 and they got one bid. So, I mean, I don't do auctions. So I said, well, at least it's going to be $20 for that. So we listed it at $28.99. I'm sorry, it sold for $24. It was an offer that we sent, but it sold within a day. And yeah, I should probably say my husband sent out that offer. Things have been, I mean, we've had good sales, but things are definitely slower this week. We've had days with like a day with no sales. We've had a day with just like one sale. So I think he just was like, hey, people are watching. Let's just try to move this pretty quickly. So $24. Like I said, we usually initially price things a little bit higher in order to do that. This pair of shoes, the brand is HS Trask. Here's what, I think that's the bottom of the shoe, but it also, I think, says it on the inside. Now, we keep an eye out for these shoes, and I think they were made in Montana originally, or still are. The pair we've had in the past, I think, have said that, but they're definitely made in the USA. But they're kind of this under the radar kind of brand that we will keep looking for because the pairs that we've had have sold. And this pair sold for $60. I believe I thrifted this calculator, but I know my husband uses this type of calculator in his work. And he already had one or two, so when I thrifted it, he just put it in his pile to be listed, and it sold for $18.99. Here's my tip of the day when selling 511 tactical clothing. Here's the brand. Don't buy red. That's my tip. Don't buy red. Okay, people who want to be all tactical don't want to be standing out in a crowd. So even though, I don't know, we like red clothing, but in any case, 511 people don't like red. So we got a $15 offer for this jacket, and we debated, and my husband's like, nobody wants this thing. And so we took it. And then what I was afraid to tell him was that the measurement or the weight must have been wrong on the listing because the buyer didn't even pay enough for shipping, and so we had to cover the shipping too. So we made even less than 15. So I'm thinking we broke even on this jacket. Good times. Alrighty. And then one other thing, Creative Memories. Okay, this was a good price. It was 3 packs of the page protectors, 12 by 12. I don't think they make them anymore. You know, back in the day, Creative Memories, if you could come across this stuff, it was selling like fast. And so this took a few months, but I did get the full asking price of $40 plus shipping on that. So I guess I would pick it up again. I do have some other things listed, but I just, it's slow. They're much, much slower than they used to be. So let's hop over to Posh. We're starting with a Patagonia shirt. Now check out this label. Patagonia has palm trees on it. So I was curious because there is a sub-brand of Patagonia or a subline called Pataloha. And it's like their Hawaiian style clothing. But this is not really related to that. But the shirt is a linen blend. And it was a little bit boring. It was just this like check or whatever. But I think I figured out the age. I think it was the early 2000s. I don't know if I have a picture of, oh yeah. Here we go. Nope. Someone told me where to find, I guess I didn't put a picture of it. Anyway, sometimes you can figure out the date. It might be on the back of that, on the content. So I don't know why I don't have a picture of the other side Or is that what that one was? Yeah. I don't know. Now I'm going to have to try to figure that out. Hold on. I know where I can find the info. She told me... Let's see. Oh, it's not going to load. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Oh, okay. There is a little tag. This is what she told me. You know, if I had a memory, think of how dangerous I would be. At the bottom, which I didn't even notice, but down here behind the shirt tails, which I should have put a picture of that. I guess I didn't. Nope. There is like a little code or something like that, and it said S4, and so her guess was like spring 2004. Okay, so I'll pop up, I have the picture, I'll pop it up here so you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, she's my phone-a-friend. She's my Patagonia phone-a-friend. Her name is Seattle Salvage, and she is on Instagram, Seattle Salvage. She knows Patagonia like nobody's business. So shout out. One of my best sales that was not a tool. Lucchese Western cowboy boots. I'm glad I have decided to try to delve into the cowboy boots when I see them. I know. I live in Montana. They should be everywhere. I should see them all the time. I do kind of, but they don't price them low. And it's hard to find a good pair for resale. This pair, I'm sure I paid up. I might have paid $15 to $20 for them. You know, I have a thrift store who'll price them at $50, $60, whatever, but they do have half off days. So I would pay $25, $30 if I know they're going to sell for $212 or $200 or higher. Now, Lucchese is good. It also had a bit of ostrich leather on it too, which also any of the exotic leather boots can do better. Happy with that. The boots have been delivered. I've not been rated yet. So hopefully all goes well with that transaction. Another Western shirt, $25. It's Wrangler. I think the size tag was missing. That's about average for a Wrangler shirt. But it did have this added little, it had the Southwest design plus the bull rider on there. And then these sold on Poshmark, which I thought was interesting. But anyway, I had picked these up at the thrift store. I paid, I believe, $1 for all of them. And they were, I was hoping they were Mackenzie Childs, but they were not. I even joined a Mackenzie Childs group on Facebook, and they were like, no. And I looked at they're like fan or light lamp pulls. And I even looked at some other ones and, by Mackenzie Childs, they didn't look like this at all. So my best guess, I think some group that I put them in where I was asking found something like a trinket box that had a very identical top to one of these. It looked like this, but like it opened like it was a trinket box. And those were by Gans. So I'm thinking these were also by Gans. I wasn't positive. But I still got $37 for them because they're very cute. And I was happy they finally sold. And then I sold this vintage skirt for $23. The brand is just Liz Sport. Vintage 90s, most likely. And I picked it up because of the color. It had pockets. I don't know. I thought it was cute. $23. And lastly, Untuck It. It's one of those brands that I'm not really super excited about anymore. I had picked this up with a white one at the same time at a thrift store I don't go to super often, and it was on their clearance rack. So we got it because of the plus size factor, and the white one sold right away. This one took a little while. It sold for $22. Now over on Etsy, we have this awesome modernist looking pair of this salt and pepper shaker set, and the brand is Nambe, 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 from 2001, and those sold for $40. It's a brand I keep an eye out for, and I do pick it up when I find it. And we sold another poster, another school poster. So this was a different buyer, and this one was for personification, which is super fun. I had a sale on Mercari. I know, I don't like Mercari. I cross-post, I don't know, we cross-post here and there. It's not my favorite site. Let's just say that. But it is the only site at this point that will let you list partial bottles of perfume. And in one of my, I think it was the Thrift Shop Day, National Thrift Shop Day thrifting trip haul video, I showed that I got these at my little county treasurer's estate sale office thingy. And I paid $3 for this. And then $3 each for a couple others that were by Hermes. So this one sold, got a lot of interest, sold right away. It was probably the best priced one. The highest I'm going to get. Like the other two are not worth as much as this one. Does that make sense? Okay, $55 for this. And it's still on its way. You have to ship perfume ground. You cannot ship it in priority. It can't go in an airplane. So it takes a little bit longer. Then over on Ruby Lane, I had a buyer out of the blue buy two of my older listings. One was this coronation plate for Queen Elizabeth II, sold for $20. And then, which I kind of expected, a lot of this sold when Queen Elizabeth, when she passed, a lot of it sold. So I'm glad this one sold. And the same buyer also bought this creamer and sugar and also paid $20 for it. So we combined the shipping and all was good. Paragon is a name you want to look out for, not necessarily for the sugar and creamer, but for teacups. If I see Paragon on a teacup, some of them sell for like hundreds of dollars. I sometimes find the ones that don't. But anyway, so when I saw these, they were cheap enough at like an estate sale. I was like, you know what? We'll see how like a little creamer and sugar do. So I was glad it got bundled together with another couple items. So $20 each. It was a $40 sale. And then the cheese slicer I talked about last week. So this one was not by Spar, which is one of the bigger names, or the name that people are used to looking for. But it was made in Sweden. It has a nice teak handle. And I've said before, these are like my favorite utensils to sell. This one sold for $15. The Spar ones, I've been shooting for 18 to 20 on those lately, especially if they have the nice darker handles. Okay, that's it for my week. I've got to run, but I hope you guys are having a fabulous sales week. It was a little bit slower for us, but we were happy on our eBay. Our 90-day total that shows like on our eBay app, we broke 10,000. So that was kind of a little goal that we had set. So we are going to shoot for 15,000 next and see how we do. Anyway, as usual, you know what to do. You leave me a comment down below about your week, how your week's going, your best sale, what have you been working on listing, all that kind of stuff. So I will talk to you later on, hopefully this week.